again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a trap does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Sondra, and I am the host of the Coffee Shop Show, sponsored by Explorer ProTech. Good evening, Peter. How are you today?
Oh, very well, thank you. I think this is going to be an interesting topic. I think we're going to have some fun with this one.
Yes, so we are continuing financial literacy because it's Financial Literacy Month. And so we're talking all things financial for business. We definitely talk about startups and, small businesses. Some of us have been in business for 5+ years. So we base out of experience and so on and so forth. So yeah, let's get started. So today's topic is pricing strategies for profitability. So pricing, you can make it either really, really complicated, or you can make it really, really simple. And there's a whole lot of in between. So we're going to try to keep it basic because I don't like complicated things, honestly. And then, it's involving numbers and yada, yada, yada. So then you get into things that you need experts for. So we're going to keep it very and I'm not going to dual talk, sorry. Trying to open the live show. So yeah, we're going to keep it simple as possible. So pricing is not just the price you charge for your services/product. It is so, so much more than that. So, everybody's like, set your price, and most people are going to tell you that it's not as simple as set your price. And it's also not a one-time set your price. Price setting, price strategy. Again, I know I say this every show, you have to review. You have to review, you have to review, you have to review. So, pricing your service/products. I'm gonna stay on the service side. Let's stay on the service side just because that's what I know. I don't sell products as of right now. So I'll stay on the service side. But I think that even trips people up because people are like, oh, I don't have the cost of goods. So obviously I have less expenses for services. True, but not true. You might not have the cost of producing a physical product. You have costs of your services because you run your services. You give services. So you obviously have costs to that, whether that is marketing, whether that is your website, your landing page, your email service, and everything in between. If you rent an office space or you use an office space in your house, all those things count as expenses in a service-based business. I think people are like, oh, it's easier, quote unquote. Yes, in some degrees, but they're still services, still expenses to services. So you definitely want to, and when you're starting out, you don't know what those expenses might be, and you're going to have to use best research as you can get by looking at competitors, the market you're in and the market where you're at. If you're, are you in Africa? Are you international? Are you only in the US, Canada, wherever you're at? That plays a part. I'm international, so I have to think about international marketing. So mine is different than if I stayed in the United States only. So one of my branches is only in the United States at this moment. So it definitely markets a little bit different. So you got to figure out first, how much is it going to cost for you to do the service? And then you're going to want to know how much do you want to make on top of how much it's going to cost you. And I can honestly say I did this backwards in the beginning, which is I had zero profit for way too long. So learn from me that you want to make sure you're paying yourself and giving yourself a percentage on your services, because honestly, you will burn out, you will get frustrated, and you'll be like, okay, why am I doing this? I'm barely breaking even, or I'm not breaking even. So determine how much you want to make off of those services, and then of course do your market research. How much are people willing to pay? What are they paying currently? Does that mean you have to do those numbers? You need to know what numbers are out there, and you need to know how much of your service do people need. So if you're offering, I don't know, to do somebody's taxes, there's a gazillion million different tax preparers out there. Like tax week was last week in the US. So software, systems, people, all the things. So you got to figure out like how are you going to bring in people to do your tax services, what makes you different or what makes you stand out, and then price accordingly, because you have everything from free tax services all the way up to ones that charge $500 or $600 an hour. So you definitely have to see what's out there and what the need is part of pricing too, on top of how much is it going to cost and all those things, and where are you going to be doing your service-based products. So Peter, what else do you have?
Well, I think let's understand that before we set prices, there's a process that needs to take place. You can't set your prices if you don't know what your costs and if you are a product and you're manufacturing, or whether you're a service, there's still your overheads, your rent for your office, your how much you pay for the applications you use. Generally, those would be fixed costs that every single month, that is exactly what it costs you, and you need to know exactly what those fixed costs are. Then you get your variable costs, which are costs that will fluctuate. They will rise and fall depending. You need to keep track of those. So there's overheads, there's fixed costs, there's variable costs. You need to kind of figure that out before you even look at your service and what you're charging for your service. Because if you don't figure out what you're spending, how do you know that what you're pricing your service at is going to cover even your overheads? So there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration. I don't think it's wise to just go, well, I think that this is what my product is worth, so I think I'm just going to sell it for this particular price, and then realize that you're working so hard, but you can't even cover the basics. And then again, it's not only about taking into consideration your costs. You've got to take into consideration living. Covering your costs is not essentially living. But then at the same time, you can't overprice your product or your service to be so outrageously expensive that you are not market related. So there's so many different aspects to take a look at it from. I've seen people deliver brilliant service and charge so little. And that's just based on their either lack of understanding of the market, or lack of their ability to see what their worth is, the lack of understanding of what problem it is that they actually solve and how much solving that problem is actually worth. And I think a lot of people that step into spaces that they go like, oh, okay, maybe I'm a graphic designer, but I don't have much experience, but I'm really good at what I do, but I don't have as much experience, so I'm just going to charge this amount. And they are undercharging and it's not covering what it needs to cover, and they will continue to battle. So I think there's a lot that you need to actually pay attention to, whether you're in the product space. I think in the product space, it's a little bit more predictable. You can predict your costs, you can predict your overheads, you can predict your variable costs, your fixed costs. Those are predictable. You can create spreadsheets and you can figure out, okay, monthly for me to, spreadsheets. Sondra's smiling. I don't do spreadsheets.
I was gonna say,
Um,
you don't, but you may have Somerville or your amazing wife.
I'll have some of will do spreadsheets. But these are things that you need to take into consideration before even thinking of trying to create a price for your service. If you don't do your homework in regards to what it's costing you, how do you know that you can even survive? I mean, it's not like we're creating the spaces as entrepreneurs that we're doing it for free because or actually, we're not even doing it for free. It's costing us to do what we do, and we're not bringing in enough to cover the costs. So, we've got to do our homework.
For sure. For sure. And again, I did not do it the right way to start out with. So learn, that is how you learn, but like save yourself that learning curve. And I think another point to bring in is that time is money and money is time. Your time is worth money. Yes, your experience is worth money too, but your time is worth money. And I've done packages, I've done hourly, I've done retainers, pretty much all of it. And when you're starting out, I truly do believe like per hour is not like it is a great way to start, but as you get in, it isn't anymore because your experience and time costs way more. Like it keeps going up as your business grows, or not even if you're growing, but even if how long you've been in it. So don't discount that. Time is money and money is time. Yes, is that part of your profit? Yes and no. It's part of you running your business. Your time is part of you running your business. If you're putting in 60, 70 hours into your business and charging for 20, A, you're doing yourself a disservice. B, you're going to burn out. Straight up. You're going to burn out because your time it's not equaling money. And that took me a really long time to learn, I'll be honest. Because I was like, oh, I just like helping people. It's not about the money, which is a true statement, but in the end, it's a business. So am I running a nonprofit or a free service, or am I running a business? And if you're running a business, it can be about helping people, but the bottom line is still the bottom line, which is how much are you making? How much are your expenses? Are you under, even, ahead? Where are you at in that process? And there is also a lot of coaching and books and meditations and everything about accepting money and money as wealth, and making sure and I know those are out there because I got them recommended quite often about about that. So take that with you, study that too, because I think it also clears your space, or clears the headspace of, I don't deserve X, Y, and Z amount because of whatever you've told yourself, and it's totally a false statement. Again, I'm just really talking from experience here. So take advantage of those things that are out there to help you with that money mindset. I was like, there's words to it. Money mindset is a big thing. So, Mr. Levy, good evening, sir. I have missed you.
Hi, Sondra. Likewise. So, yeah, I really missed the coffee shop show, and it's actually chatting to someone about it the other day, how much I missed it. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. I love your topic, because it's a very profound one. And yeah, we're all in business to make money. Well, if you're not, then why go into business? And nobody should ever deny you that. So I think that's the first thing. I think that there's a couple of things. if it's a product, as Pete correctly said, it's a lot easier to measure what that product is being sold at in the market. So you can kind of get benchmarks, more accurate benchmarks, should I say. And in the services industry, it's a bit more varied. Those benchmarks, I think, are wider in my experience, and certainly in the coaching industry. If you look at the services industry, because financial services is also a services industry, but yes, they do have a product that they're delivering. So they also have a kind of benchmark. In both cases, in both industries, it extends beyond the service that you're offering in the services industry, and it extends beyond the product that you're offering, because there's a lot of entities that offer the same product, or businesses. Why do you prefer to go to the one store to the other that offer the exact same product? And you might even be prepared to pay a little bit more at the other store, even though the other one, that you can get it cheap at the other. And that comes down to that wonderful thing called service, and how you treat your client, whether you're selling a product or you're offering a service. And it's understanding your market and understanding your client's needs and how much do they need what you have. So, you know, if you don't offer something that people really need, you're not going to have a business. Why are they going to buy from you? So those are the couple of things. There's a lot of notes I made. The one thing is also my suggestion, and it's easy to say, but I learned the hard way. So, but starting out, I'll expand on that, but never be the cheapest. Because I've heard people stand up in networking spaces like this and other networking spaces, and they have to tell people briefly what they do and what they offer. And I kid you not, I heard it on many occasions that they say, we are the cheapest. And I'm going like, don't say that. Okay, you haven't even told me about, I don't even know you, and you're telling me how you undervalue your business and that you're the cheapest in the market. I'm asking myself why. So can you only get into the market on price? It is a question that goes to my mind. It's not that simple to answer, especially when you're starting out. In the services business, again, in the products business, if you know the product, you have the exact same product selling for $10 or 10 Rand, whatever the currency is, why would you sell it for 5? That's the one question. In the services industry, yes, do research, find out what your client needs. There are a lot of people that offer what I offer in the leadership space. I'm not the guru in that space. I feel my approach to leadership, because of what you spoke about earlier, experience and knowledge, and what I've experienced with leadership over my journey of like 35 plus years or 40 years, as my approach to leadership is different. Okay, it's mine. There might be people that offer similar, but how Stephen presents it and why I approach it like I do, I stand extremely firm in. And there are people that resonate with it, and there are people that don't. Okay, I'm okay with it. So I think then it's important to understand, you have to do research in that pure services industry. And even though the benchmarks in the industry that I'm sure you can relate, Sondra, that we work in, are so varied, it's so wide, that gap. And then you have to decide, where do you peg yourself between the bottom and the top? And it's not that easy. So when you're starting out, sometimes you have to test it. And yes, you might discover that you undervalue yourself. And then you can change it. You can change that in the market. How are you going to discover what the right value is? I think that comes into, again, it's about those relationships. Spend time finding out not only what your client needs in terms of your services, is spend it, how valuable is it to them? And what I mean by that, they ask you to come in and provide a service that they feel they need, because if they could do it themselves, they wouldn't ask you. So that's one thing. Then find out from them, if you meet that need, what difference does it make? What impact does it have, not just on their business, but on their bottom line? Okay. You can then quickly establish, okay, how much is it worth to them that you're charging them if it's making a 2 or 3% difference to their bottom line by achieving what they did from using your services. And if they, often it comes out where you think, wow, actually what they're investing, and if they achieve this, what they're getting out is like, the investment is really cheap, and then they still turn around and tell you you're expensive. Then you have to sit back and think about that and ask, is this your client? Are they looking for a price, or is it really that important? Because if you're asking me to, if I'm asking you, asking me to invest, say, X amount in your business, and I'm going to make, it's going to X times 3 my bottom line. I don't know where you're going to make that kind of investment and get that kind of return. So it's not about, you can't rip people. The clients are very well educated. They're a lot more informed than years before. But I think it's really important to try and measure what is the value of what you offer to the client. How valuable is it to them? And slowly, I think through experience and knowledge, you start identifying where you sit in that industry, in that market. And you have to be brutally honest with yourself. And your clients will be honest with you, most of them. Yeah. I've been through experiences, if I can share, where I have quoted a price, and I agree with you, the price per hour, and I'll tell you why. I think it's crazy, but I've quoted people and they say you're too expensive. And then I often think, to compare to what? Because it's not a product. You can't say, I'm getting this and I can tangibly go and compare it to that. Compare to what? So am I too expensive because it's out of your budget or your cash flow? Because then we can talk, and I don't have to discount my price. We can talk about payment terms that suits your budget. Why am I too expensive? It's a word that's too freely used to maybe get a not maybe to get a discount. We respond to that as if, they want a discount. Because we don't ask them, is it too expensive? Is it your cash flow that it doesn't meet? Does your cash flow get impacted in your business and all these things? Because, we have to invest in our business. I invest in the services of people in my business, and I won't take the cheapest. And I do. I have a look at, say, what are you offering me, and what is the return that I'm getting, and is it meeting the needs that I'm looking for? Because if you achieve that, then I need to ask, how expensive are you? Based on what you're charging me and what I'm receiving, the benefit I'm receiving. And sometimes, there's a good friend of mine who's got a plumbing business. And there's something I always remember that he said, you'll never know how expensive a cheap plumber can be. Okay. And that, I think, pertains to a lot of businesses. If you're only there for price, I think a lot of time, and you can pick that up quickly, a lot of time, people, you should opt my recommendation would be opt out, because if they're only after price, they'll take your price. Somebody else comes and offers a couple of cents, they'll drop you quickly. There's no retention or longevity in that. My own experience and what I've seen, not only in my own business. So yeah, I think testing the market, understanding the market, and then never discount. That's in the services, especially in the service industry, but not only in the services industry. When you're selling a product, never discount your knowledge and experience, because that's priceless. And there's that, that story, the guy that had to, on the Navy's ships and the submarine, they couldn't get the submarine to go. They brought in all the naval engineers, the top guys, and they just couldn't get it going. And then the admiral said, you need to find someone who can get this going for us, because we need to get, and they got hold of an ex-naval guy who was in his late 70s or 80s. And he came through with his little pouch and his hammer, and the guy said to him, listen, we can't get this thing going. He said, that's fine. So you've got a step ladder for me? He said, sure. He climbed to the top of the boiler. He took his little hammer out and he hit it. Boom, all the engines started. Admiral said, unbelievable. That's incredible. We've had our top engineers come here, they couldn't get it started. He said, just send me the invoice. So he sent the invoice. And the invoice was for $2,000. And the admiral said to him, he said, you're out of your mind. You were here for 2 minutes. You sent me an invoice for $2,000. He said, yeah. He says, it's $200 for the work, for the time that I spent there, the 2 minutes I spent there. Yeah? And it's $1,800 for knowing where to hit and what to do, from my experience. 30 years experience taught him what to do. And I think that story just sums up, never discount your knowledge and experience of the industry. And yeah, I think there's a lot of conversation, and I need to come back to Explore ProTech, okay, because it's a topic I think that will not get sorted out in a 45-minute coffee shop show, but I think the input, yes, from Pete, yourself, if I can give the input that I'm giving, I hope is of value, is I think you get people to think about how they're pricing whether you have a product or a service. The service is more difficult. But I think it's really is something we need to give strict attention to, and coming back to, and how can you determine your price is start off. It's so true what Explore ProTech stands for. Relationships first, business later. Because it's in those, when you're prepared to go to sit through building those relationships, you will then determine a price that's a win-win for both. It cannot be for one or the other. That's the client or yourself. If you're going to go and rip it out for yourself, okay, it's not going to work. And if the client is going to knock you down just to satisfy themselves and not you, it is not going to work. And I think it's a mindset that we need to adopt, and unfortunately it doesn't happen. I've had some shocking emails. But anyway, we won't go down that road. But it's like, oh, you're too expensive. My plumber, talking about plumbers, or my lawyer doesn't charge me that. Okay, maybe, then I don't say it's arrogant. Then why are you asking me to do the work? Get your lawyer to do it, or your plumber. So I don't say that area. I think it's what I'm highlighting is sit with the people and understand what is it they're looking for and how can you support them. And by making this investment, is it worth it for them relative to the outcomes they're achieving, or to whatever they wanted for achieving, again, product or service. And if you can determine that, and it's a win-win for both, well, you should build long-term clients, longevity.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Levy. Oh my gosh, several things. One, customers, what are you solving for them? Is it money? Is it time? Is it stress? I had a client, well, a potential client, actually
Yeah.
talked myself out of a client, where it was time. Like I said, no, go do X, Y, and Z. He did it, hired somebody else because it was the right fit for what he needed, and then took his first vacation in 2 years a month later. And I actually just got to meet him last month, and he shook my hand. He goes, I still don't believe you didn't charge me for that consult. And I was like, it was a consult I give everybody. Like there was no fee to that consult. But it was time is precious and precious time, time is money. So if you can help their bottom line, which is financial, but can you save them time? Can you save them stress? Can you, all those things matter as a business owner. And I work with most business owners that have multiple businesses. So could it save them time over here to go work on this passion project over here? I can do that because I can say, if I can help you over here, then you will have time to go do X. And people light up for that and people will buy that. It's not always about can you build their 10% profit or whatever. It really is feelings are, and also the other thing is how you can make them feel. They're going to feel amazing because they got that solved and they can go do this now. And it's not stressing them out, stress, feelings, and those things. So for sure, Mr. Levy, I love that.
So true. And that just coming back to what you said, Sondra, so there you gave some of your time away for free.
Mm-hmm.
He experienced the value that you offer in terms of freeing up his time. Okay. I have no doubt that will come back to you where you will be able to charge what should be charged, and from his referral, him speaking to other people about you. So you don't know, that's kind of like your investment into your business. So often I still do it.
And that was actually
conversations. Yeah, it's heaven. I don't charge, and if they walk away with some nugget, that's great.
Yeah, and that's usually my goal in my consultation is to give them a nugget, even if it's not something that's going to get me. I mean, it's really, I think that's where that help wanting to help people comes in. I want to help people in my consultation even. It's not necessarily about making a case of whether you should hire me. It's like what do you need and how do you need it? And do you know? Usually most of them don't. I just want something fixed. I'm like, okay. And like you said, it takes that expertise where to hit the hammer and the right exact spot. And that's my goal is where are you needing help exactly? But yes, that's the other thing. Referrals make money. And in my second industry now, that is more like marketing in that industry is really about referrals. Because that's how most of the company is built. It's about referrals. So, and I always, even when I do like coffee get to know you calls, I'm always like, who are you looking for? Who can I refer you to? Like who you can refer this to me. So I think don't discount referrals. Even if they don't hire you, maybe they'll come back around. I had somebody 2 years later, she hired me, so treat everybody as a potential client. That's what I always tell people. Don't treat them as, maybe they are a small business and like you said, they can't afford you, you're too expensive, but give them the best you can give in that moment. And if you can come to a win-win, yes. If not, then maybe they'll come back and be like, oh, okay, I see the value in your service, or I know so-and-so and they need your service. So I never tell anybody they're not the right client. I've yet to tell anybody they're not the right client. I just work with them where they're at. So, Peter, come on in. We're like monopolizing the conversation.
Awesome. Okay. So if I hand make my own version of a Gucci bag, is my Gucci bag worth the same as an original Gucci bag? It's not.
No.
I try and make it at home. I don't have the right tools. I don't have the right things, but I make my version of a replica of a Gucci bag. My Gucci bag is not worth the same as an original Gucci bag. Obviously, there's a whole history behind Gucci and what they charge and why they charge it. but they have developed a reputation for having a really extreme high-end product. I could go to tailors and ask them to replicate a Gucci bag, and they can be brilliant tailors that have years of experience, but the bag they make is not Gucci. It's just a rip-off of Gucci. So I think when we are creating ourselves or creating our services, I think we need to understand that much the same as the bag or the brand Gucci has a reputation that it has built over an extended amount of time, that we as well need to build our reputations, and our reputations are actually worth money. My reputation is worth money. If somebody is going to hire me based on my reputation, then my reputation needs to actually achieve what it is that I said that it achieves, and it needs to have done that for others. So if somebody hires me to step into their space to solve a particular problem, I need to solve that problem, and my reputation needs to precede me, and that is valuable. So when we look at ourselves, let's just use coaches in general as a you will have coaches on LinkedIn that will market themselves as the best of the best. I am the best of the best. There are thousands of them. I get contacted by them all the time, reaching out. Hey, I'm a business coach, and I'd like to have a discussion with you about your business. Is there anything that you would like to achieve this year? Yes, one of them would be not to speak to you. I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. Because there are 1,000 of them, thousands of them. Or they'll reach out and go, you need me. No, actually, I really don't. I'm okay, thank you. I don't know them. I don't know their reputation. It's just marketed that way. Not all that marketing can be true. I could become a plumber and say, I'm the best plumber in the world and market myself. But the truth is, if I touch anything that's got to do with plumbing, it's going to leak. Guaranteed. It didn't leak before, but now it leaks everywhere. That would not be a good reputation. So if you are creating your pricing structure in the service industry, understand that what goes hand in hand with creating your pricing is building your reputation. So that when somebody comes along and goes, oh, but you're quite expensive, but your reputation precedes you and you are worth what you're charging. It has to be based on reality. It can't just be, oh, I created a marketing campaign and I need to tell everybody I'm the best. You actually need to showcase and prove that you are the best at what it is that you do. Now, I know that if I step into a space where I need somebody to come in and deliver on leadership, I'm going to go to the person that I know that has built their reputation in that space. So I would go straight to Stephen. So if I wanted to hold a space accountable, or I wanted to, then I would be going straight to Sondra, because the reputation it's worth the reputation. I will pay for the reputation. But you can't come out of left field, out of nowhere, and just tell people, oh, you're paying for my reputation that doesn't exist because it's just marketing. That doesn't work. So of all the marketing on LinkedIn, you think I believe everybody that says they're the best? How can they all be the best? I don't know. There's got to be one best. And then you take a look at people that are out there, like the Tony Robbins and the Gary, what is his name? Gary Vaynerchuk. They have reputations, and why are they the best? We look at the things that they say, and sometimes we live our lives by what it is that they say. Is everybody else not the best? Why do they charge what they charge? Why do we get to charge what we charge? So you got to find that happy medium. You have to find that happy medium. You have to find that space where you fit, where you can build your reputation. You can charge based on your reputation. But please, ladies and gentlemen, do not create a reputation out of your head and put it on paper and present it to the world like these are the things that you're going to achieve for people when you actually haven't been able to achieve that. your pricing structure will go out the window very quickly because it's not worth it. So alongside your pricing structure, build your reputation. It means a lot.
It's so profound what you just said, Pete. Sorry, Sondra, to come here, because you have to, your reputation, credibility, and that's building your credibility, especially in the services industry, but not only in the service. I don't want to just speak about it, because even in a product industry, that goes beyond the product, as we mentioned earlier. But I think to build your credibility, it's your investment into your business. If you haven't built credibility in that particular industry, you can't then ask for prices that the Tony Robbins and guys that have 10 years in that business, that are known in that industry, that have built credibility. So you're so right in what you said, and that's how you will slowly find, the market will tell you kind of what your value is, and you have these benchmarks that you can work to, because you need to understand it. You can't solely rely on what the market says, but the market will tell you. And so I love what you just said now about building credibility. And then, sorry, we often talk about you need to meet the client where they're at, and that's 100% correct, always. But in building your business, you also need to be brutally honest with yourself and meet yourself where you're at. You can't peg yourself here when you're not there, because you're only kidding yourself, and the market will find out very quickly. And that could be, so it's also about being you have to be brutally honest with yourself. And again, it's about making it a win-win, and not going in, like you said, Pete, you can't just go in and sell your stuff. You need to go in and you can tell people the value that you offer, and you will see whether they value it or not, and how much they value it. And they might say yes, but Tony Robbins charges and Stephen, you charging that. They're probably not going to, unless I can show them that I can offer what he does. But then it's not just one component. Yes, because let me tell you, he didn't start off charging what he's charging now. He comes out the back. He started his business in the back of his car. That's where he lived. And I could tell you, he didn't charge not even close to what he's charging. Okay. He's been in the game, and he gets results. And he's been in the game. He's built credibility. It's like Gucci. He's the Gucci of the people who value it. For whatever reason, you can argue till the cows come in. People put a value to it, not just to the service, to the name, the brand.
So true, Mr. Levy. Gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our time. Like we said, this is a jumping point. This is not the all end all conversation about pricing, because yes, there's a lot to do with it. And that's another reason why we're doing financial literacy the whole month, is because finances are extremely important to your business. And we know that 1 week isn't going to cover it all. So go back and watch the last 2-3 shows. We've talked about, financial literacy, why, budgeting. I think this is the 3rd show. Anyways, so definitely go back and watch those. This year has been strategically built one show on top of the other as you build your business. So last month we talked about business plans, and Susan talked about forecasting, another financial thing. So definitely go back to those shows and watch those shows, because it builds upon each other, and then you're just building your knowledge base. So speaking of Susan, we want to thank Susan. She does our show notes, she does our show covers, and she turns this into a podcast on Spotify. Please share, invite people to the live show. It's interactive. I'm grateful for Hope that was interacting with me today. So definitely do that. And then we want to thank Somerville. She helps on the back end of everything and makes Peter's life easier because she's definitely an expertise in her field. So super grateful, Somerville. We always say, you get yourself a Somerville, you just can't have ours. So my name is Sondra. I am the owner of Get It Done. I help people reach their goals by breaking into bite-sized pieces and holding them accountable. And Mr. Peter, do you want to send us out, please?
Awesome. So I think as we end the show, just a bit of a message to go out there. The reality is that big business is not going to solve the problems of our world. It's going to take the entrepreneurs and the small businesses. We drive economy. We drive economy. And we need to stick together, and we need to actually create a space where we can support each other, and that's what this is. So this is just us getting together as a group of entrepreneurs and going, hey, we've made mistakes, and we can talk about our mistakes, and we can help people avoid making the same mistakes that we made. We can have successes, and we can teach people how did we create those successes. So I think the space is designed to build a sense of camaraderie. So if you've got questions that you want to ask them. If you've got people that you want to speak to, then get in touch. Our links will be in the description. You can reach out, have a conversation. It's about creating support. So that being said, it is the end of our show. Ladies and gentlemen, may all your